And it makes me wonder why Aaron Rodgers is busting his ass to try to come back. Last night, the latest step. I mean, frankly, the Aaron Rodgers pregame workouts are far more compelling than anything that happens on the field during the Jets games currently. The last two games, somehow they won one of them. But there he is last night with the awesome Salute to Service hoodies. This year, congratulations whoever designed that thing. I know it's a challenge every year coming up with a new one, and they're mainly green. It's the Army Fatigue Keller camouflage, whatever. This year's are awesome. They almost look like they're some kind of a rough leather. They are awesome, and I've ordered one, and it's on the way. But there he is before the game, perfectly fine, throwing the ball like 50 yards. And I said at the end of the show yesterday that I'd heard from someone in a position to know these things, there's an assumption he's going to want to practice in a couple of weeks. And I guess at some point last night, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman said something about him playing in December. I didn't hear them say it the first time. I just heard them make an allusion to it after the fact about December. But if that's what you're going to be protected by, do you really want to come back and put yourself at risk of either re-injuring your torn Achilles tendon or having some other injury? Because that's why he got hurt on the fourth snap of the year. He was already running for his life behind that leaky offensive line. That's the problem. They can't get it going up front. And I know it's not easy as the season unfolds to make improvements to your offensive line, but if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I'm hell-bent on coming back, I mean, I really think that you have to sit down and do an honest assessment of what's the upside, what's the downside. Because after he spends months coming back from the torn Achilles tendon, does he really want to spend months after that? And this, I mean, I think you have to, this isn't some random risk like getting struck by lightning. You're going to come back and play football behind a bad offensive line. Do you want to put yourself in a position after you have gone on an accelerated rehab program to come back and play to possibly spend the full offseason rehabbing some other injury? I don't know that I want that just to prove some sort of weird point to myself or someone else, unless I think there is a real chance of doing something special when I return. That's a little bit too much of a risk to have to rehab the other AC or the other Achilles or an ACL or this or that or whatever because the offensive line isn't going to give me any time. That's getting lost in all this. What's he coming back to? Regardless of wins and losses, what situation is he stepping into? He's stepping into a situation where the risk of injury is going to be greater than it would be for other quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, it is his offense, right? This is his offensive guy, and it's his offense, and it's a lot of his chosen skill players. I mean, Allen Lazard did not have a good night last night, right? I mean, between the drop passes, the penalties, he did not look very good out there. So I don't know exactly if that's going to magically improve when Aaron Rodgers gets there. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But that's another one of those guys that's like, okay, that's Aaron Rodgers' buddy. That's why he is on the team. Right? Nathaniel Hackett is there for basically the second year in a row because the team was trying to lure Aaron Rodgers to their building. So that's the kind of thing that Aaron Rodgers is going to come back to. Again, it's his offense that he helped design with Nathaniel Hackett and Matt LaFleur with Green Bay. So that's what he's coming back to, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I just think it is a medical marvel. And like, I have to credit him for doing whatever work that it is that he is doing to be able to get back to this point this quickly from an Achilles injury. I mean, I don't really know what he's doing. I don't know if they're playing like sounds of dolphins on the sideline as he is like throwing passes to make him feel that much better. Whatever the hell it is he's doing, it's working. So good for him for that. But I mean, like you said, I don't really know what else we can really say about, oh, he's coming back to XYZ, because like, look, this is his chosen situation, and it's not necessarily his chosen offensive line, but like all the rest of this stuff is designed for Aaron Rodgers. So that's, I guess, what he would be coming back to.
Apparently, Aaron Rodgers said to Derwin James after the game, give me a few weeks. Not that there's a rematch between the Chargers and the Jets in the regular season, but there it is. Give me a few weeks. That's it. Give me a few weeks. I didn't hear it, but I'll trust Courtney that he said give me a few weeks because the background noise is really loud and it's blowing out my eardrum. I assume that he said it in there somewhere. So
he did, yes.
Again, I dropped that little turd in the punch bowl on the way out yesterday where I said someone in a position to know was assuming he's going to want to practice in a couple of weeks. But let's have the grown-up conversation, Aaron Rodgers. We're concerned for your long-term health and well-being. We want you to be able to be 100% going into 2024 if you come back and play. We assume the Jets are maybe going to spend some of your $33.8 million that you left behind on offensive linemen in the offseason, so you'll be better protected. Do you really want to come back? And there's 5 games in December for the Jets. And then there's one more after that in the regular season. I don't know when in December, but that's a long stretch. And when you look at what the Jets have coming up, they've got the Raiders on Sunday Night Football. And then after that, it's Bills in Buffalo, Dolphins Black Friday, Falcons, which won't be easy, Texans, which won't be easy. They got 3 straight home games, Dolphins, Falcons, Texans. That's December 10th, and they're at Miami on the 17th. Christmas Eve visit from Commanders. At the Browns, short week Thursday. Those are the December games. Like, when do you come back, and what do you really prove if, when you come back, you're running for your life, like you were, on 3 of the 4 snaps that you played 8 weeks ago, last night? It's amazing that he is where he is 8 weeks and a day later. It really is amazing, and it's causing more and more people to say he didn't really tear the thing all the way through. I mean, I've been hearing that for weeks. There's no way this guy tore the thing all the way through, and he's back doing this stuff. There's no way. There's no amount of Dolphins doing what Dolphins do to make more Dolphins in the world that can make this heal if it's fully torn. It wasn't fully torn. Nobody knows that, but it's just kind of like, this is too... It's too Hollywoodish. It's not, you can't suspend disbelief for this. It couldn't have been a full tear. I don't know that. I just know I keep hearing it more and more and more, especially after last night. But even with that, what are you coming back to if the offensive line is, to use a word that we've been repeating from time to time as an alternative to the S-bomb, caca. That's what their offensive line has been. That's how it's been performing lately. And that's not conducive to keeping Aaron Rodgers healthy, and it's not conducive to letting him do Aaron Rodgers things and save the day. And that's the thing. They lose that game to the Raiders on Sunday night, short week, fly to Las Vegas with a Raiders team that's doing the ding-dong, the witch is dead thing, and they're smoking cigars, and everyone's happy because Josh McDaniels is gone, and they got nothing to lose at this point. That's a dangerous spot all of a sudden. They lose that one. They got the Bills. They got the Dolphins. We could be looking at a 4-game losing streak here, 4-7, almost close to done before Rodgers rides in on the white horse to save the day. I just think that it makes for good conversation. I just don't think it's realistic, and I think someone needs to tell him, Aaron, you probably just shouldn't come back this year. Much as I want him to do it, probably shouldn't come back.
Hey, Mike, it's good for business if he does. I mean, I think we know that. The more
I know.
we can get Aaron Rodgers.
I know.
Right?
But I'm thinking about the guy's health. Somebody's got to think about the guy's health. He's going to come back and get hurt again behind that offensive line.
Totally. And you know, Mike, what I think about is one of the scenes in Hard Knocks where, you know, Aaron Rodgers was kind of complaining to Nathaniel Hackett about some of the design and some of the calls. I think it was a 2-minute drill that they were trying to run. And it was just one of those scenes that I kind of filed away in the back of my mind, like, maybe there's something here, because I don't know if that was just kind of played up for drama or whatever it happens to be. But when you already have the quarterback kind of not necessarily very happy with what was going on with the offensive design and the offensive play calling and the structure and things that are just happening in practice in August, then that can sometimes be something that will come up later on in the season. And granted, Aaron Rodgers is not out there, but I think about this when I'm looking at what Zach Wilson is asked to do and some of those plays where you see the replays, right? And you're looking at it, and yeah, Zach Wilson's holding on to the ball, and sometimes he just needs to try to make a play and do something. And like I said, this is why this is kind of a match made in hell. Zach Wilson's not really doing a good job of processing, but there also aren't that many solutions for him. And when he's getting pressured that quickly, it also means that he doesn't have time to make the processes. So, like I said, the offensive design and the play calling is not very good. The offensive line is not very good. Zach Wilson is not very good. And all these things can be true at once. And then it adds up to, as you just, so eloquently put it, caca. right? But even if all these things break down and we look at what Zach Wilson's doing here, protect the damn ball when you're in the pocket, right? These are things that as a year 3 quarterback, you have to do. You have to protect the ball when you're in the pocket. I don't care if things break down, right? We have to be able to have that expectation. And that play where he's like pitching it to Breece Hall, I don't know what the hell happened there either. It almost looked like that was supposed to be a forward pass in some way so that if something like that happens, then it's not a fumble. But then here we go again, right? We're not protecting the ball in the pocket. We don't have a feel for where things are. The ball comes out and then we punch it forward. This is just not good enough. It's just not good enough. And I don't really know what you do at this point if you are the New York Jets to try to make things better for Zach Wilson. But you either have to simplify stuff, you have to do a little bit of different combinations on the offensive line to try to protect him a little bit better. You have to maybe speed the clock up in his head. I realize that they're going tempo, no huddle and things like that. But man, it can't continue to be this when you have a defense on the other side that's as good as it is.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.